Hey guys. This is part 8 of What If Naruto Was Adopted by the Goddess Artemis. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 19. From a damn problem to Santa's evil twin. Naruto and Grover burped as they gobbled up the food that they ordered from the snack bar. It was a good thing though that the stall served food for Grover to eat, or else he would just be digging into French fries, milkshakes, and soda cans. Luna lay happily on the ground tearing on a piece of meat that Naruto gave her. As they ate, Zoe, Bianca, and Talia came to them walking to them. The pup even looked up happily from her meal to wag her tail and bark happily. "You guys hungry?" Naruto asked with his mouth still full. "We are," Zoe answered, setting her things on the table. "We better eat while we still can." "Hey, where's Percy?" Grover asked, noticing the distinct lack of the water boy. "Beats me." Talia shrugged. "He said he heard a cow?" "Say what now?" Grover and Naruto did a double take. "Hey! It's true!" Talia insisted. "Tell him, Bianca." "Well, that is what he was talking about," the young demigod confirmed. "I will never understand that water boy." Naruto shook his head. As they sat down waiting for Percy, they couldn't help but notice that there was a commotion going on from the main part of the park. "How much do you want to bet that Percy's involved there?" Naruto said. "We can't catch a break, can we?" Talia sighed. "We should split up to look for him," Zoe said. "We meet up at the golden statues if we don't find him." "Right." Everyone agreed, and they were on their way. With Naruto, the blonde was looking around for his brother. Luna wanted to go with him, but he decided to let her look after Talia for him, much to the protest of the girl. She said she was big enough to look after herself. Despite her reaction, she appreciated the gesture. Anyway, here he was passing a whole lot of people, and none of them were Percy. They seemed to be running away from something. There was a kid who was crying and sobbing something about a skeleton. "This can't be good," Naruto muttered to himself. "His face," the kid said in fear. It was like Halloween." Here," he said, picking up the pace. He bolted through the park and towards the museum. He had a feeling that his brother came this way. While he made a dash, he ran into one of the park rangers. He stopped her and said, "Have you seen a boy about my height with black hair and sea green eyes?" The ranger's eyes fixated on the blonde. One striking feature on her face were her eyes. They were startling gray, like storm clouds. His mind went a million miles an hour to think where he had seen them before, but he was brought out of his thoughts by the ranger's answer. "Oh, he joined the tour group," she answered, pointing at the elevator. "He was looking for the snack bar." "Odd guy, looking for the snack bar down below." Naruto bowed and dashed towards the elevator. Waiting for the door, his mind wandered back to the woman he talked to. "Hey, yo." He was cut off when he saw that the woman was no longer there. He didn't get any more time to look for her further because the elevator bell dinged, signaling the car's arrival. He got into the car and waited for it to reach its destination. Without anything else to do, Naruto's mind began to realize. What was he thinking trapping himself down here? The doors opened and Naruto found himself on a hallway that seemed to carve of solid rock. The walls were moist, and the air hummed with electricity. Dashing through, he came into a U-shaped balcony that overlooked a massive warehouse area. Down below, the turbines were churning. There were no exits, so Percy couldn't have gone far. Naruto wandered across tour groups listening to guide who was telling the students about water supplies in Nevada, and naturally there was no sign of the water boy. That was until he heard a yelp coming from one corner. He made a break for the sound. It was Percy, all right. He had riptide drawn and he had sliced a girl with the sword. Naturally, with the blade being made of celestial bronze, the sword had ignored her. "What are you doing?" Naruto screamed at the boy. "Yeah, what are you doing?" the girl added. "Do you always kill people when they sneeze?" Percy had a stupid look on his face as he ogled the girl. "You're mortal," he said, the events still not processing in his mind. "Yes, Percy. We've established that," Naruto said, walking to the girl to check her out. "Are you okay, miss?" he asked. "I don't know about your friend here, but I'll be fine," the girl answered. "What's with the sword anyway? It didn't even hurt me?" "You can see the sword?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Well, it's either a giant toothpick or a sword, you take your pick," The girl rolled her eyes. Of course, I see a sword. Although, what's troubling me is why it didn't hurt me, not that I'm complaining. And who are you people? And is that jacket made of lion's fur? Man, that girl had a lot of questions. Oh, and who was this girl? We'll get to that later, but she was a tall girl with red frizzy hair and a nose that turned red due to her freckles. She was wearing a Harvard sweatshirt and jeans that were covered in marker stains and holes like she spent her free time poking them with a fork. Before Naruto could answer any of the redhead's questions, Percy suddenly cleared his throat and snapped his fingers out of nowhere. You don't see a sword. You see a ballpoint pen. Naruto and the redhead deadpanned at the water boy. Again, Percy, what are you doing? Naruto asked. With that being said, Percy shook himself free from the shock he had been in. Oh, Naruto! He spoke. Quick! The skeletons are here. Can you two please explain to me what's happening? The girl said. It was then that the familiar clattering and hissing of the skeletons came from behind them. It was a skeleton warrior disguised as security, and this time he wasn't alone. Naruto sprang into action quickly before the warriors could even react. He kicked the skull of one warrior away, causing it to fly over the edge. The body broke down to pieces as soon as the head flew away. He then twisted in the air and slammed a Rasengan onto the ribcage of another. Percy, who had to play catch-up, took down the last one with a slice of his sword. Whoa! The redhead said with her mouth hanging open. You took care of those skeletons. Percy completed her sentence. You can see them and the sword? Just what are you? Naruto asked, earning an offended glare from the redhead. Don't you mean who are you? She huffed indignantly. I am Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Red, huh? Naruto hummed in thought. The name suits you. The now named Rachel narrowed her eyes, but not without blushing at the two boys' stares. Thank you. Now you answer my questions. Who are you two? I'm Percy, and this is Naruto. Percy introduced them. He was about to explain, but Naruto elbowed his adopted brother and gestured his head towards the skeletons behind them. They were beginning to stir, reforming bone by bone. Naruto looked at Rachel, keeping the calm on his face and placing a hand on her shoulder. Look here, Red, it's best if you forget you saw us for the sake of your sanity. You better get out of here too. Percy nodded. Those skeletons might ignore you, but just to be safe, but… Rachel tried to protest, but the boys were already running away, the skeletons almost fully formed. With the others. So did you really see a cow here? Naruto asked as they waited in the elevator on the way towards the meeting spot that the rest of them talked about earlier. Percy nodded. But it's not the sea cow you would see in an encyclopedia. It's more of what you would see in an episode of SpongeBob. Are you sure you weren't imagining things? Naruto thought as the elevator dinged, signaling their arrival to the surface. I swear I saw it, Percy insisted. Naruto didn't get to come up with a response as they made it to the cafeteria area. It was pure carnage. Kids were throwing food all around the room. Skeletons lay on the floor like they were caught up in the chaos of the food fight, while two groups guarded the exits to Nevada and Arizona. Piles of bones that looked like they were chewed on lay there. There was even a pile of ash on the ground. Naruto could make a guess on who was responsible for that. Spotting the two boys, the guards left their posts and ran towards their targets. Naruto spotted this and told Percy to run towards the meeting place. Right behind them, the skeletons tried to aim at them, but they couldn't get a clear shot with everything happening around them. Here! Talia called out to the two boys who were running towards them. They're not dying! Zoe exclaimed as she knocked another arrow. I can kill another! Bianca offered. Maybe I can get lucky. They're getting wary of you now. Zoe argued back. I will not let you risk yourself again. Well, it's nice adventuring with you guys, Grover said, lamenting their fates. Don't give up just yet, Percy said, reaching the area. Why aren't we running, though? Look. It's a dead end. Talia pointed over to the edge. There's no road. The skeletons slowed now. They were taking their time since they knew that their prey wasn't going anywhere. Zoe and Naruto kept knocking them down with their projectiles, but they just reformed and got back on their feet. Luna scattered another skeleton warrior and bit on its bone. These once surprisingly not forming bit by bit, but that still left a lot of skeletons to outnumber them. 6-15. What do we do? Zoe muttered. I am open to any suggestion. It was then that the idea struck Naruto. You said the statues were a gift to your dad, right? he blurted out. Yeah, so? Talia said after blasting another skeleton with lightning. Try praying to him, Naruto suggested. There's no use, Talia argued. He never answers. Hey, it's worth a shot, isn't it? Naruto sent her a reassuring smile. What have we got to lose? Talia closed her eyes. Her lips moved in silent prayer. The skeletons were now upon them. Those with guns trained their weapons at them while those with batons hefted their weapons. One even grabbed Bianca and aimed its weapon at her head, daring her to do something. Luna growled at the attackers, but Naruto reeled her in for fear that they would fire as soon as she pounced. For a scary moment, nothing happened. It was hopeless. But then, help arrived just in time. Just as the skeletons opened fire, a shadow flew over our heroes and raised its wings to deflect the bullets. Even Luna was surprised, causing her to jump into her master's arms. It's so good to walk again, the owner of the wings, who looked like an angel, said. Holy Zeus, my toes! What were they thinking? Before the skeletons could react, two more of those angel things swooped behind them and broke them to their feet. One of them raised her head and spotted Talia. Hey! It's Zeus' kid! His two companions turned and widened their eyes after seeing the girl. Well, what do you know? They said, surrounding her. No time, they're coming back, Talia said. Get us out of here. That's no way to ask a favor, little miss, one the angel said. Can I get a please? Please! Talia screamed frantically. They looked at each other and shrugged. Let's get cracking, boys, the angel that seemed to be the leader said. It feels good to stretch my wings, another decided. What are we waiting for? The last one added. The angels grabbed our heroes two at a time. First, Naruto and Talia, Bianca and Zoe, and then Percy and Grover. They raised their wings, and before anyone knew it, they were in the air, much to the ire of a pale daughter of Zeus trying to cover her eyes. On the other hand, Luna was enjoying this. She wasn't scared at all. She stuck her tongue out and enjoyed the wind striking her face. Tell me when we're on the ground, Talia said, covering her eyes with both hands. Come on. It's gonna be fine, Naruto said. Live a little. Not a chance, Talia snapped. Say, are we, high? We don't do that kind of stuff, Naruto joked. I'm serious, Talia insisted. Well, we're not that high, Naruto answered, scraping the snowy mountain top with his shoes. Are you sure? Talia asked. On second thought, I'm not taking any chances, don't you trust me? Naruto asked. Well, her voice trailed off. She separated her fingers and took a peek first. Naruto was right. They were flying just above the mountain tops, giving Talia the false sense of security of floating just above the ground. She slowly lowered her hands to take in the view. Naruto took one of her hands and held it tight, sending her the signal that everything was going to be okay. She appreciated this and returned the gesture despite her shaky hands. I can show you the world, the angel carrying them chimed in. Shining, shimmering splee, these are the Sierras, Zoe yelled over the wind, disrupting the mood. I have hunted here before. At this rate, we will make it to San Francisco in a few hours. Perfect, I have to meet Nereus somewhere there, Percy added. The old sea god? Naruto asked. Who told you? Fred, I mean Apollo, told me the night on the train, Percy explained. He said he would know things that were hidden from the Oracle, herself. Or something like that. How, convenient we find Nereus in the city we are targeting, Talia added with a shaky breath. That just makes things easier, right? Naruto chuckled. Hear that, Chuck? The angel carrying Naruto and Talia told his fellow angels. We could visit those guys at the Mechanics Monument again. We are so there. The angel carrying Grover and Percy, who he called Chuck, yelled back. You guys have been there? Percy asked in mild shock. Hey, as the blondie said, even we automatons have to live a little, Chuck answered. Don't tell me we can visit those marble lady statues over at the Young Museum and… The statue carrying Zoe and Bianca began to say, but he stopped when he noticed Bianca blush. Frank! Naruto and Talia's angel told him off. We have kids here. Right, sorry Hank, Frank said. Back to flying. And so, they continued flying. Naruto asked Talia if she could fly since Percy could swim and breathe underwater, but she said she never even tried. Naruto suggested that she could try it right now, but Talia adamantly refused. Later, the mountain ranges fell away into hills, and then to farmlands, until they eventually made it to the scenery of towns and highways. Once the mountains disappeared, Talia's grip tightened on Naruto's hand, but Naruto once again reassured her. Nevertheless, she enjoyed the breathtaking view. Normally, on the ground, you wouldn't think twice about these kinds of things, but seeing it from a different point of view, things are so much different. Once they passed by the first target billboard, Zoe shot an arrow and hit it dead center. She was surprised though when a kunai knife sprouted beside her arrow. She instantly knew who it belonged to. Zoe looked at Naruto, challengingly. It had been a while since she had a challenge like this, so she challenged the boy to a marksmanship challenge with a bow and arrow. Naruto scratched the back of his head, saying he left the bow that Artemis had given him since it wasn't his style. Zoe rolled his eyes at him and told him that if he really was Artemis's son, he should have given this weapon a try. Bianca, though, wanting to see the contest, lent Naruto her bow and arrows and carried Luna for him. From then on, every target billboard became a target for their contest, and for a while, it seemed like the both of them would never miss. At some point in the contest, Percy brought up the topic about that weird girl that he and Naruto met at the dam. Naruto added that he would have sliced her in half had Percy been using a normal sword. Percy adamantly protested that the skeletons had made him paranoid. Talia told them that some mortals were like that and no one knows why. That topic made the two adopted brothers think of their mom. It was no wonder she knew what to do about Percy's predicament. She could see the monsters that were on the sidelines waiting to pounce on the water boy when they had the chance. Come to think it, she would have also known who Tyson really was. It only proved that Sally Jackson had a big heart as she helped Tyson despite being different, if you catch my drift. Close to the end of their conversation, Talia said, "It must be nice being a regular mortal." Don't be like that," Naruto said after firing another shot. "That would be boring." "If by boring you mean safe, then I would take that any day," Talia said. "So you regret meeting me?" Grover pouted and started bawling. "Or me?" Naruto decided to join in. You guys," Talia said. "Alright, you got me. I guess being a demigod isn't so bad since I got to spend it with people like you. So, where would you like to land?" Hank asked once he was sure it was okay to cut in. Percy looked around. He took in the sights momentarily. It looked like a cleaner Manhattan surrounded by hills and fog. There was a huge bay filled with ships of all shapes and sizes and the Golden Gate Bridge sticking up the fog. "There!" Zoe beat him to the bunch. "Right by Embarcadero Bridge." "Good thinking," Hank said. "We can blend in with the pigeons." That statement made Naruto sputter out a laugh, causing him to lose aim on the final target. The others looked at him with a deadpan expression. "Sheesh, I'm only kidding," Hank said. "Can't statues have a sense of humor? At least Blondie gets it." With that, the angels descended. It turned out there was no blending in needed. There weren't any people around save for one homeless man that they startled as they landed. Once all of them were on the ground, they waved goodbye to the angels, who went off to party with their other statue friends. Luna whimpered as the angels flew away. She wanted to do that longer, but Naruto just reassured her that they would be able to do that soon. Naruto turned to Zoe and raised a hand to his mother's lieutenant. "That was a close contest. I admit that you're better. I haven't had that much practice save for archery class at camp," Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. Zoe studied the blonde. She was expecting some grumbling about she was lucky or it was the wind or something in the same light, but it wasn't the case. Perhaps his mistress's son was really different from other boys. Was she wrong to judge him based on his gender? Was he wrong to really generalize? Perhaps that would have been the case. She smirked at that. "You are not so bad yourself. You just need more practice. It is a hunter's weapon, our first choice of weapon. Then, could you have to teach me sometime?" "Why not?" Percy smiled at the scene. He was happy for his brother. The boy had finally broken through the Ice Queen's icy exterior. Talia's words, not mine. Please don't tell Zoe. But then, it dawned on him, for the first time that day, he realized Fred, aka Apollo, didn't tell him where exactly to find Nereus. They were in the west coast as the prophecy had said, but there was no bane of Olympus that was supposed to show them the trail. They made it this far, but they didn't know what to do. "Let's approach this one at a time," Naruto said. "You said you need to find Nereus? But I don't even know where to start finding him," Percy reasoned. "Old Nereus, eh?" Zoe said. "Since you're the son of the sea god, he should be easy to find." "How do you know him?" Naruto asked. Just trust me, she insisted. Come, I will show thee. She led her companions to a Goodwill Dropbox. Once Zoe started working, his friends couldn't help but snicker. Zoe outfitted him with a ragged flannel and jeans several sizes too big for him, bright red sneakers like you would see clowns wear, and a floppy rainbow hat. Luna tilted her head looking at the water boy. This new look confused her. That's, accurate, Bianca said, trying to reel in her laughter. Oh yeah, you look completely inconspicuous, Grover said in the same fashion. Yes, like a typical male vagrant, Zoe said, feel proud with her handiwork. Gee, thanks guys, Percy grumbled. Explain to me again why I have to dress like this. I told thee, Zoe reiterated. It is to blend in. And with what you're wearing, you really do blend in, Naruto added. Percy still didn't look happy with Zoe's decision, but he still followed her along with the rest of the group. They spent quite an amount of time searching the docks. After a little while, they stopped in their tracks. She pointed down towards a pier where a bunch of homeless guys huddled close to each other in a blanket. They seemed to be waiting for the soup kitchen to open for lunch. Thou should be able to find him there somewhere, Zoe said. He never travels far from the water. He likes to sun himself during the day. How do I find out it's him? Percy asked. Think Percy, Naruto said. He is sea god. He should smell like the sea. And once I find him? He asked again. Grab him and don't let go, Zoe simply answered. He will try to rid himself of you. Whatever he does, stay strong. You can do it, Bianca cheered on. Yeah, we've got your back, Talia added until she found something sticking out of Percy's back, a big clump of fuzz. You, on second thought, I don't want your back, but we are rooting for you, Naruto added quickly. Luna barked happily, sending more positive energy to the boy. Grover gave him a big thumbs up to cheer him on. Yeah, really supportive friends. They watched as Percy stumbled down the docks like he was about to pass out. Well, it was easy since Percy didn't get to eat at the damn snack bar, and he had to fight off a bunch of skeletons. Naruto sighed. I better stock up on clones gathering nature energy. With a few hand signs, Naruto summoned Gamatotsu, spooking his companions and a few homeless guys nearby. Luna also jumped as the human-sized toad poofed into existence. She eyed it warily. Yo, Naruto, Gamatotsu greeted with a salute. What did you need? Whoa! You've grown so much, Naruto said with wide eyes. Bah, you humans just grow slowly. The toad waved off his question. Anyway, what did you need? I need you to reverse summon 2 of my clones, Naruto asked. I expect things would get hectic in a few hours. I expect that I won't get time to gather nature energy. You got it, Naruto, Gamatotsu said, and he disappeared in a puff of smoke. What was that about? Bianca asked, not understanding the language the two used in their exchange. Naruto summoned 2 clones who suddenly disappeared a second later. Then he turned Bianca and said, I don't sense much nature energy around here, so I had him summon my clones back to Mount Mayaboku to gather it for our fight. Oh, all of Naruto's friends said, and Naruto just shrugged. They turned back to Percy. He was now wrestling a surprisingly fat homeless guy with a white beard that had turned yellow. They figured this was Nereus. All around them, the other homeless people were screaming and panicking. He was doing great for a while. That was until Santa ran into a post, hitting his head on a post. They winced for a second as they watched Percy's dazed expression. Nereus was about to jump into the water, but fortunately for them, Percy regained his composure and tackled him from behind. There was a brief exchange that led to Nereus jumping into the San Francisco Bay. For a second, Nereus had a look of horror on his face, like jumping in the water was a big mistake, but he morphed his expression to a challenging look. Then he plunged into the sea. When he resurfaced, Percy was hanging on to was that a seal? Yeah, I guess it was. Where did the sea god go? Anyway, the seal thrashed around with Percy trying to hold on to the animal's sleek black skin. A moment later, the seal plunged into the water. If Percy were a normal human, he would have died long before they resurfaced, but since he was a son of the Earthshaker, he could do this all day. The next time they rose from the depths, Percy was grabbing onto the dorsal fin of a killer whale. Despite the situation, Percy managed to wave at the tourists. Go figure, ha ha ha. Well, anywho, the both of them once again dove into the water for the final time that day. And the next time they came up, Nereus jumped out of the water and lay on the docks in a heap. Seeing this, The others ran down the steps of the pier and joined their teammate, who didn't even look tired in spite of the taxing activity he went through. Luna happily knocked him to the ground and congratulated him for the feat. "Way to go, Percy!" Naruto cheered as they made it to the homeless guys, but then he froze. "Holy shit! Is that you, Santa? It's December! Shouldn't you be working?" The rest of the group gave him a deadpan look. Well, Percy didn't anyway. It seemed that was the first thing that entered his mind as well. One could wonder if they really weren't related. Even Nereus glared at the blonde. "No! You idiot! I am Nereus, the god of the sea." "Well, I was until this half-blood's upstart father took the title from me." Naruto chuckled. "Of course, I knew that. I was messing with you." "Now then," Percy began. "Nereus, I have a lot of questions for you." Only one question per capture." The Santa lookalike heaved one last time and looked at Demigod, who bested him. "So tell me, Half-Blood, tell me what you want to know." Chapter 20. The Wine Dude Pulls Through. "So tell me, Demigod, what is it that you want to know?" The old sea god's voice rang in Percy's ears as he tried to think of what information he wanted to get out of Nereus. He gritted his teeth in frustration. There was so much he wanted to ask, but only one question. His voice screamed Annabeth, but he somehow knew that the girl wouldn't like it if he used that single question to save her and not Olympus. Then, there was Naruto and Zoe. He knew they wanted to know about where Artemis was. In the end, he sighed. He had a sneaking suspicion that Artemis and Annabeth were in the same location, and he knew Naruto knows that too. "All right, Nereus." Percy began remembering the worried voice Chiron used to describe this monster. "Tell me where the Bane of Olympus is. Where is the monster that Artemis was chasing?" Upon hearing the question, Nereus gave him a creepy mossy green smile, then his shoulders began to shake as he roared out in laughter. "What's so funny?" Naruto demanded. "Sorry, Demigod, only one question per capture," he said after calming down. "As for the answer to your question, right here." He pointed over down to the water. "What are you?" Talia didn't get to finish her question as Nereus cut her off. "The deal is complete." He gloated, and with a pop, he turned into a goldfish and dove into the sea behind him. After that, everyone froze in their tracks as they heard the unlikeliest sound was heard. Well, everyone except for Luna, who started growling as the scent hit her nose. "Muh!" The distinct sound of a cow was heard by everyone in the group. Naruto and Grover's ears perked up, translating the words in their brain. The others were confused. They were expecting to hear that sound in the fields that they passed by earlier, not in the area of the bay. Luna peered over the edge and readied herself to pounce. Naruto urged his little pup to stand down. "What is that thing?" Talia asked, doing just as the puppy did. "I'm guessing that's the damn cow," Naruto said dumbly, following her example. "Percy, why is he calling out to you?" The cow thing nudged the deck, gesturing the son of Poseidon to get down with him to the water. Percy knelt down to pet the cow thing on the head. "Guys, this is Bessie. So don't get mad at him, okay, Luna? She's a friend. I met her back at beach in camp and she followed us all the way to Hoover Dam." "Did you say Bessie?" Bianca deadpanned at the name. "You know he's a boy, right?" "Muh!" The damn cow sounded as if echoing the young demigod's words. He says his name isn't Bessie, Perce," the satyr translated. "You two can understand him?" Bianca stared at the blonde and the satyr. "Well, yeah, it's probably cause of the blood of Artemis flowing through me," Naruto tried to explain. "This time, it's harder though, but I can get bits and pieces. He's using an ancient form of animal speak," Grover elaborated. "He said that his name is the Ophiuchus." "Ophi, what?" Percy asked in confusion. "I remember now." Naruto raised his voice in realization. "Yes, the Ophiuchus." Talia nodded. "It means serpent bull in Greek, but what is it doing here?" "Muh!" Bessie tried to explain. What did you do for it to call you his protector?" Naruto asked the water boy. "He says that he's running from some bad people," Grover continued. "He says they're close." With that being said, Naruto perked up. His senses were going haywire. This was what he was trying to ignore earlier, trying to pass it off as nothing. Even Grover's nose twitched, suddenly sniffing a familiar scent. "I have one question though," Percy inquired. "How did the both of you get all that in one moo?" Everyone, including Bessie, the Ophiuchus, looked at Percy like he grew a second head. Did you really have to ask that now? Naruto asked. Sorry, Percy scratched the back of his head. Don't worry, Naruto chuckled. I was wondering that too. Wait. Zoe stopped the boys' ongoing conversation. You know this cow? Well, yeah, Percy said, and he told him the story of how he first met Bessie the Alpha-Taurus. He told about how Blackjack woke early in the morning and flew him to the beach at the back of camp. Then, he told them about meeting the cow stuck in a net underwater. And you just mentioned this thing now? Talia shook her head in disbelief. Hey! A lot of things were trying to kill us. It didn't seem important at the time. Percy protested. I am a fool. Zoe berated herself. I know this story. The story of the Alpha-Taurus? Naruto asked. The story about S.A. Naruto began, but Bessie started to panic at the mention of the S word. Percy calmed him down and urged them to continue. The old stories spoke of this monster. It is indeed the one we are looking for. Zoe explained. But he's too cute. Percy looked at his new friend sadly. How could he destroy anything? Naruto shook his head. That's not what the legends say. He won't bring down the gods that way. When he is Sack, MOO. The Alpha-Taurus once again protested at the mention of the word. I'm sorry, you really don't like that word, do you? Naruto said, seeing a shake of Bessie's head. How could anyone, offer him up? Bianca asked. He looks so innocent, that's just it. Zoe said, eyeing the Alpha-Taurus sadly. There is power in killing innocence, terrible power. The Fates had ordained a prophecy, eons ago, when this creature was born. It is said that whoever offered his entrails to fire will receive the power to destroy the gods. He once again panicked, this time at the mention of the new word. He doesn't like the word entrails too. Naruto said. Probably best if we avoided it too. But how do you get the power to destroy the gods? Talia asked in disbelief. No one knows. Zoe shrugged. In the first Titan War, they almost came close. Is that the one where Zeus's eagle stole that thing before it could get to the fire? Naruto asked. Talk about a close call. Zoe nodded. It was a close call indeed. And now, after 300 years, it is reborn once again. I am sure they would stop at nothing for this creature to be captured. Talia knelt to the pier and held out her hand. As if on prompt, Bessie swam forward to her beckon. She eyed the cow hungrily like she was considering the power that the lieutenant spoke of. Luna nudged her softly as if reading her thoughts. Then there's only one thing to do, Percy said. We have to protect him, especially from Luke. If he gets a hold of him. Talia turned to her friends and spoke up. He wouldn't hesitate. The power to overthrow Olympus, that's huge. Just then, the satyr's fears were confirmed. Now, he knew that the scent he was picking up was carried by the wind. The threat was indeed nearby. Oh, yes, indeed, came a voice with a heavy French accent. And it is a power you shall unleash. Everyone whirled around to see who it was. It was an old enemy, Dr. Thorne. I must say, I am incredibly lucky to meet you all here. This is just perfect. How come you didn't sense him? Talia elbowed the blonde. He mixed himself well with the mortals. Naruto reasoned. It was him all right, but he kind of looked different. He was still wearing his Westover Hall uniform, but for some reason it was torn and stained. His military cut had grown up spikier and greasier than before, even his face had grown a silver stubble. He looked no better than the homeless people in the soup kitchen. Despite that, he still looked scary, not to mention, he also had a couple of mortal mercenaries at his sides. They were armed to the teeth. Long ago, the gods banished me to Persia. I was forced to. The Manticore began to explain, but Naruto cut him off. Cut the crap, Thorne, Naruto said. What do you want? Well, I was getting to that. Thorne yelled back. He then raised his hands. I will finally get the recognition I was deprived of for millennia. And I will start by capturing you. With that declaration, the two mortals at his sides raised their guns at them. It's nice to see you again, my dear Bianca, Thorne greeted. You have been hanging out with the wrong crowd. Have you learned nothing from Westover? I certainly didn't learn them from you, Bianca challenged. Why are you coming to get us yourself? Percy asked. Don't you have the skeletons already after us? He sneered. Bah! I don't need those foolish undead. The general thinks I'm worthless, eh? Well, I'll show him. You are welcome to try. Naruto said after exchanging nods with Percy. He knew what he was trying to do. Didn't we beat you once before? Ha! You can barely fight me with that goddess on your side, but now she is, should I say, a bit preoccupied right now, so there will be no help for you. Thorn countered. Zoe inched her hands towards her bow, but Naruto stopped her. He too was feeling angry about what the monster was implying about his mother, but he reeled in his anger. Surprisingly, Zoe didn't resist. Barely? Really? Naruto raised an eyebrow. What a joke! You had to dive over a cliff to get away from us and now you say we barely fought you? Keep talking, Naruto Uzumaki! Thorn challenged. I was going to give you a swift death, but for opening your mouth, I will give you a slow death from my poison. You will not see Talia achieve her great victory. Do not worry about your dog, she will find you in the fields of Asphodel, really soon. Percy tried really hard to reel in his curiosity this time. He wanted to ask what Thorn meant with his last statement, but he decided not to. This wasn't the right time to do so. What are you talking about? It was Talia who asked. You have not seen the forest for the trees, my girl. The monster answers to your call. This is the reason why Lord Kronos gave you a second chance at life. You will sacrifice the Aphotaurus and bring its entrails to the sacred fire on the mountain. For your 16th birthday, you will overthrow Olympus. No one dared to speak another word. It made perfect sense. In the summer, they played right into the Titan Lord's hands. They retrieved the golden fleece to revive their dying tree, but they inadvertently unleashed Talia to the world. And now here they were, 2 days close to her 16th birthday. She may very well be the one in the prophecy. It was all part of Kronos' plan. You know it is the right choice, and I know, you know it too. Thorn prodded further. It was only a matter of time. Talia was stunned. She didn't know what to say. Here was power right in front of her, and the memories of herself and Luke cursing the gods resurfaced. She could finally get revenge for the gods' neglect. She could finally gain power to crush them underfoot. She could. Her thoughts were broken when he felt a comforting hand on her shoulder and another that gently took her hand. It was comforting. She smiled and met the blonde's eyes. Thank you, she said and looked at the manticore defiantly. You're not getting me on your side, monster. Naruto smirked. Percy, now. Percy knew that smirk anywhere. He had seen it countless times in Yanxi Academy. It was a sign that his friend had something planned. He nodded at the signal and waved his hands around. At the gesture, the water behind them bubbled and shot up in the air in a steady stream heading towards the ambush. The mortals were frozen. I don't know what the mist made them see, but they were stunned as they watched the water erupted like a geyser. Shoot them, you idiots! Thorn ordered only to get a shaky response from his minions. They raised their guns, but Naruto was already starting the next phase of his plan. He blazed through a couple of hand signs and gathered the chakra in his hands, transforming it to lightning nature. He added it to the water as it touched the mortal mercenaries, sending them through the shock of their lives. Nice, I like the lightning, Talia complimented. Thanks, hee. Naruto grinned. Fools! Thorn bellowed as he shot off the wall that he scaled to avoid the water. Pathetic mortals! I'll do it myself! Luna growled and pounced at the approaching manticore. Luna! No! Grover yelled in worry as the little puppy charged the much larger opponent. But as they watched what happened, the statement, "Big things come in small packages," was proven right in front of their eyes. Despite the puppy's small frame, she packed a punch when she met with the manticore in the air. She rammed into the monster, causing him to fly back the way he came and land in a heap on his back. Not giving him time to breath, Luna was immediately on his chest growling. What was different now though was, like in the gas station in the beginning of their trip, her voice was deep and demonic, like it came from the depths of the underworld. The three boys should know, they literally went to hell and back. Whoa! That was cool! Bianca cheered. Luna looked at the others and yapped happily before returning to Thorn's throat, ready to bite if he made the wrong move. I admit your little attack dog caught me off guard, Dr. Thorn muttered. Where do we find Annabeth and Artemis? Percy demanded. I believe you are not in the position to make demands, Thorn said evilly. What are you talking about? Talia said. You're the one who has an attack dog at your throats. Oh, we'll see about that. Thorn smirked and then whistled. It was then that they heard guns clicking all around them. They were surrounded. Like I said, Thorn said. You barely fought me the last time and now, You don't stand a chance. Naruto grit his teeth. He was sure he sensed Thorn and a couple mortals arriving, but why didn't he notice the others? Were they hidden with magic, or was the mist from Mount Tamalpay messing with him? Shit! Naruto muttered under his breath, causing Bianca to look at him with a scandalous look. He met her gaze and asked, "What?" It's nothing," Bianca said. It's just that from where I'm from the teachers would have washed your mouth with soap." Yeah, sorry about that." Naruto rubbed the back of his head. "Do you really have the time for banter, Naruto Uzumaki, Bianca D'Angelo?" Thorn said from under Luna's foot. "Do you not understand the situation you are in? Hand over to Leah Grace and the Alpha Taurus now or else." "Or else what? You'll let them shoot us?" Naruto asked. "Obviously," Thorn demanded. "Now, come to Leah." "Yeah, how about no?" Talia refused. "Listen to the girl, will ya?" Naruto added, rolling his eyes. "Geez, you got rejected once already. Talk about persistent." "He is right, Naruto," Zoe said. "What are thou doing?" "Buying time, of course," Naruto declared and raised a couple of smoke bombs. "See ya later, losers." He threw the bombs to the ground and a cloud of orange smoke rose from the ground. "Really? Orange?" Talia deadpanned as they ran. "Come on, I know you like it." Naruto nudged the girl. "What happened to being inconspicuous?" Bianca asked. "Then I'm the greatest ninja ever, if I can hide in broad daylight wearing bright orange," Naruto joked. "Oh, he's good alright," Grover said, remembering the times in Yancey. "You imbeciles!" Thorn exploded with rage from within the smoke. "They're over there! Shoot them!" He pointed over to the roofs. The mercenaries took aim and fired. Bianca and Percy lagged behind to serve as shields from the bullets. Their aim was spot on, but they just bounced off harmlessly off of their coats. "Gah! Must I do everything myself?" Thorn bellowed. "I will chase them. You idiots go to the sides and flank them." Thorn shot to the roofs and gave chase. "That was a good plan," Percy said. "But what are we going to do now? They are still after us. Those soldiers will be a pain if they manage to get in front of us and surround us again." Talia added, "I'll handle this side," Grover said, playing a quick tune on his pipes as he ran. Zoe didn't say anything, but she drew 3 yellow arrows and took aim. "I won't let you," Thorn said as a tail sprouted from behind his spraying spike towards them. Just like the bullets earlier, they just ricocheted harmlessly off their lion coats. Naruto and Talia just had to block a few stragglers. Zoe let her arrows fly, spraying sulphurous yellow smoke that surrounded the mercenaries trying to flank them on the right. They coughed upon breathing in the gas. It was just too much for them. Over on the left, Grover just finished playing his quick riff on his reed pipes. Vines and branches sprouted from the wooden planks under the mercenaries' foot as if the wood remembered they were once trees. That was good and all, but they were now running out of roof to run on. They jumped down and landed on the end of the pier. They hid behind a little kiosk selling souvenir crystals, dream catchers, and wind chimes that glittered in the sunlight. Right next to them, there was a water fountain, and down below, there were sea lions sunning themselves on the rocks. They could see the whole of San Francisco Bay sprawled in front of them. There was the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz Island, and green hills and fog over in the distance. It was another view to admire. One that could best be admired when you are not about to die or when the world was going to end, whichever came first. Definitely not like now. "What are we going to do now?" Bianca asked. "You escape by the sea. Lead the monster to camp," Zoe told the water boy. "We will fight them off." "Yeah," Grover seconded. "We have to get word to camp." "That won't work," Naruto said. "We tried that the last time, remember?" "It's okay," the said boy reassured his comrades as he eyed a water fountain that was conveniently right beside them. The water spraying was creating, yes, that's right, a rainbow. "I have an idea," Percy said, slashing the water fountain, then went on to digging something from his pocket. "I think I got one right here." "Got it." Talia flinched as the water hit them. Once she saw what the water boy was up to, she smirked. "Percy, I never thought I would say this, but you're a genius." "Ha ha, very funny." Percy rolled his eyes. "Anyway, here I go." He threw the golden drachma he fished into the mist created by the spray. "O goddess, accept my offering," he chanted. The mist rippled. "Camp Half-Blood," he said. The mist shimmered again, and the questers didn't expect who they saw next. It was their lovable camp director, Mr. D, rummaging through the refrigerator in a leopard skin jogging suit. Do you mind? He looked up lazily from the fridge. Where's Chiron? Percy demanded. We're about to, MPF. Sorry about that, Mr. D. Naruto cut in. Pardon the hasty call, it's just that the Manticore and his minions are on our heels. Percy looked at the others. We're so dead, about to die. He mused. I'm afraid Chiron has some, things he has to attend to. And what are they exactly? Naruto asked politely, trying to hide the panic in his voice. I think he said to inform you when you return so as not impede in your little quest, Mr. D said. Should I take a message? We don't have time for this. Percy raised his voice, the irritation evident. My, is that a way to ask a favor, young demigod? Mr. D said uncaringly. So, what seems to be the problem? Well, other than the fact that we're about to die, you see. Naruto told him about Bessie the Ophiuchus. Percy chimed in with his side of the story and how he appeared out of nowhere. And that's about it. Naruto finished the short version of the story. As he finished, they could hear Thorn's footsteps were heard from behind them. He was flanked by a couple of mercenaries. Now I see you've given up on running, Thorn said as he stalked his prey. And you're back to square one, without any real help. He threw off his coat, and the transformation into his true self began. His claws extended, and the poison-spiked tails whirled in the wind. Talia sighed. Here we go again. See you guys in the underworld. Bianca shook in fear, hiding behind her friends who were standing their ground, weapons drawn. You know, I would gladly help, as long as Percy says please, Mr. D said from the iris message. Percy bit his lip. He looked hesitant to do what the god was asking. Well, given the two's track record, I wouldn't be surprised. He eyed his friends in his peripheral vision. Zoe and Bianca had their bows ready. Naruto had a couple of three-pronged kunai. Grover had his reed pipes ready. Luna wanted another go with the manticore, but she held her ground. And Talia had shield and spear drawn, but what was peculiar was she seemed reluctant to go through with the fight as indicated by the tear that fell down the side of her face. It was like she was in a situation like this before. Wait, she had been in this situation before, Percy thought, the information dawning on him. He then grit his teeth and turned to the panel of mist. Could you lend us a hand, Mr. D, please? Mr. D stared at him through the mist. At first, nothing happened. They were doomed. The mercenaries took aim ready to fire. But then, the wine god came through. There was a rush around the demigods, confusing them, a rush akin to when you suddenly turn right side up after hanging upside down for too long. This feeling was followed by a contented sigh. Then, the scent of grapes spread through the air until it turned sour. Snap, the questers turned back to their opponents. One was on the floor running on all fours like Luna. He came towards the group, sniffed Luna's behind, and ran away. The other one was waltzing with homeless guy that their group startled upon landing. Arg, over and over and over. Thorn screamed bloody murder. Fine. I'll deal with you all myself. He charged the demigods who had lowered their guard after the weird situation. Before he could get to them, though, grapevines erupted from the planks beneath his feet. He tore through the first few vines easily, but more and more tangled around him, sprouting new leaves and green baby grapes. A few moments later, the stalk of grapes stopped shivering. It was safe to assume that the threat has been neutralized. Well, that was rather fun, Mr. D said as he closed the refrigerator. But, how did you? Percy's question hung in the air as Naruto chimed in. Mr. D, you're the best. That was awesome. Naruto cheered. I don't know what we could have done without you. You best learned from Naruto over here. Mr. D smirked. That's what I call gratitude. Anyway, the mortal's conditions aren't permanent. I hate to write reports to father if I made it so. Talia grabbed Naruto's hand for support, which didn't go unnoticed. Naruto wiped the tears that were forming in her eyes and tried to calm her down. Now girl, I hope you learned your lesson today. Power is hard to resist, especially if it's dangled right in front of you. Mr. D, you actually saved us. Grover finally got out of his shock. Don't make me regret it, Satyr. Now get going. I only bought you a few hours at most. Mr. D replied. Could you do something about the Ophiuchus? Naruto added. Most certainly not. Mr. D looked offended. I do not transport livestock. That was worth a shot. Naruto shrugged. Thanks anyway, Mr. D. See you soon. But where do we go? Bianca chimed in. I think little Miss Zoe know, am I right, girl? Mr. D said. Though you best hurry. You have to enter the garden at sunset today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a whole pizza to eat. Then, something else dawned to Percy. Hey, Mr. D. Did I hear it right? You called Naruto and me by our names? You are hearing things, demigod. Mr. D snorted. Of you go. It was chaos around them. Mr. D's magic was strong that even those that they left reeling in the fart arrows and those getting themselves free off of Grover's vines were affected. Now, they even started harassing the tourists, while others were having a conversation with the homeless guy about metal angels from Mars. Naruto looked at Zoe oddly. He said, you know where to go? Her face was pale, but she hid it good. She gazed over to the Golden Gate Bridge and pointed over to the horizon where a single mountain rose up above a layer of clouds. There, our next destination. Zoe said. There is no hiding it now after all we've been through. It is time for you to know the truth about the story. Chapter 21. Assistance from a Familiar Face. A group of 6 were running towards a location only their quest leader knew. She looked younger than most of the team members, but in fact she was the oldest one present. They were following her lead. Where are we going again? Percy asked. The Garden of the Hesperides, Zoe answered, then clicked her tongue. And we are running because? Was the boy's follow-up question. Well, Percy, the Hesperides are the nymphs of the sunset, Naruto explained. We have to make it there by sunset. So if we miss it, Percy began, but he was cut off. No, don't even go there, Naruto said. We will make it for the sake of Kazan and Annabeth. He's right, Talia chimed in. But we will need a car. M.O.O. Bessie reminded that he was still with them, following them from the water. Wait, Percy asked. What about Bessie? Grover stopped and faced the water. Hey, I got an idea. The Alpha-Taurus can appear in any body of water, right? It can? Percy asked, but he picked himself up. Oh yeah, it can. The other demigods looked at him for a second before Naruto spoke up. So what do you have in mind? Maybe we can somehow get her to appear in Long Island Sound, Grover narrated. Then maybe we can ask Chiron for help to get him to Olympus. Will he know where to go? Bianca asked. Bessie said. Bianca's right. Percy nodded. She was following me. That's the reason why she appeared here. Then I'll show him the way. Grover looked at the water with uncertainty in his face. Are you sure, Grover? Talia made sure. They told me you almost drowned last summer. The satyr steeled her nerves. I can. He then knelt down and whispered something in the monster's ear. He shivered and let out a contented moo. What was that? Bianca asked. The blessing of the wild, Grover explained. That will help us with safe passage. Percy, you should pray to your dad as well. We need all the help we can get. Okay, Percy said, concentrating on the ocean. Hey, Dad. Can you watch over my friends as they travel back to camp? Protect them at sea. That's a big prayer, Percy, Talia said. It needs a big sacrifice. Percy gained a thoughtful expression. After a few seconds, he took off his jacket. Grover was taken aback by Percy's action. Are you sure about this? That's a really useful magic item. I'm sure, Percy declared. I don't need a lion skin jacket for me to be a good hero. Zoe's expression softened. Well said, demigod. Well, he is overrated, isn't he? Percy smiled. He then threw the jacket into the ocean. It reverted back to its original form, the way it was depicted in the stories of the muscle-bound demigod. As it hit the water, it dissolved into the sunlight on the water. With that, the sea breeze picked up. I guess it worked, Grover said. I should go. Wait, Naruto said. Bianca, you should accompany Grover. The fights are only getting fiercer. I don't want to take any chances. Besides, you have a figurine to give to Nico. You're right, the girl nodded. I don't think I'm ready for what's coming next. I'll see you all in Olympus. You guys be careful now, Talia said, giving Grover and Bianca hugs. Say hi to everyone for me, Naruto said, hugging the girl and high-fiving his best friend. Don't go drowning on us, Percy added as he did the same. Thanks, guys, Bianca said. We'll make sure to get Bessie back to camp safe and sound. Yeah. You can leave it to us, Grover declared, and they both jumped into the water. The rest of the demigods watched as the Ophiuchus lurched forward. Grover and Bianca seemed to be panicking as he picked up to incredible speed and began submerging underwater. Naruto knelt down and instructed Luna to meet them at camp with that awesome teleporting ability he has. He still didn't know if all direwolves have that ability or just Luna. Man, he had a lot of questions about his world. Anyway, moving on, Naruto turned to his friends and said, "That leaves us. How do we get to the garden?" "I don't suppose we can take a cab?" Percy offered. Zoe shook her head. "We cannot involve the mortals in this one. It would be too dangerous." "Then we could, borrow a car," Talia suggested. "I don't think that's a good idea," Percy said. "That would be stealing, unless we know someone who could lend us a car." They were silent for a moment. None of them had any contacts in the area, since no demigod in their right mind would want to live in this city. It was then that a look of realization fell onto Naruto and Talia's face. "Didn't you say Uncle Frederick moved here?" Naruto said. "Yes," Talia answered. "I got his address here somewhere." "Wait, who's Uncle Frederick?" Percy asked. Talia finished digging into her pockets. She brought out a crumpled piece of paper and held it up. "He's Annabeth's dad. Chase Residnc." Naruto missed the move. When he returned after training with Jiraiya and Fukusaku, he was surprised when he learned that Frederick and his family had moved into San Francisco, no less. He has come to learn of the dangers of a demigod living in this city, but the family still moved. He didn't get mad at this. There was a reason for this, and he intended to find out. Currently, they stood at the porch silently arguing at who would knock on the door first. Ultimately, Talia and Percy argued that he had already met them before, so he should be the one to knock. So he did. From the outside, they could hear someone rushing to the door. Someone must be expecting some kind of delivery to be arriving. They could imagine the disappointment in her face when she realizes that it was just them. After a little wait, the door opened, revealing Dr. Chase, the way Naruto remembered, except he was wearing an old-fashioned aviator's cap complete with goggles. His stubble had started growing out, like he hadn't shaved in a couple of days, and his shirt was buttoned wrong. From the way Percy had seen him, he could tell why Athena had gained the wisdom goddess's favor. He was indeed an academic engrossed in his work, maybe a little too much. "Hello? Oh, Naruto," he greeted. "I don't suppose you are here to deliver my airplanes." "Sorry to burst your bubble, Uncle Frederick, but no," Naruto said. "Drat! I needed 3 more sop with camels," he said, causing the others looked at each other confusion. "So, what brings you here, my boy, and who are your friends?" Maybe you should sit down for this one," Naruto said sadly. "I see," Frederick said, recognizing the mood. "You better come inside." Our heroes entered the house at the signal of Annabeth's father. It was just as Naruto had seen when they still lived in Virginia. Lego blocks and robots were scattered on the floor, and 2 cats slept in the sofa undisturbed by the quarreling boys. The coffee table had a stack of magazines and a couple of winter coats, presumably belonging to both boys. The house was filled with the scent of freshly baked cookies, making the demigods hungry, especially Percy, who hadn't gotten to eat at the Hoover Dam snack bar. Also, jazz music was playing from Thea's. They walked through the hall. Zoe had unfortunately stepped on one of the blocks. After millennia of living on this earth, she had finally felt one of the most painful feelings in the world. "Ow!" Zoe screamed in pain. She picked up the block and stared at it. "How did this block of plastic hurt so bad? Big brother Naruto?" Her question fell on deaf ears as the 2 boys squealed in delight when they recognized the blonde pass by. They were previously fighting over a robot, but the seeing him was enough to make them stop. "Why didn't you come home with big sis Annabeth after summer break?" Bobby demanded. "Yeah. You said you would come back." Matthew dittoed. "Sorry, kiddos," Naruto apologized. "I had to go home to my family back then." "Don't bother Naruto now, boys," Frederick told off the boys. "We have something to talk about." "Oh," the boys whined. "At least tell Matthew to stop taking apart my robots," Bobby said. "Matthew, don't take apart your brother's robots," Dr. Chase said absent-mindedly. "I'm Bobby," the boy protested, seeing his dad looking at him. "That's Matthew over there." "Right." Dr. Chase shifted his head and repeated his statement. "Okay, Dad," Matthew answered. Sorry, some other time, okay? Naruto knelt down to the boy's level and promised. Honey? A woman's voice called out from the kitchen. She appeared in the living room wiping her hands on a dish towel. Oh, Naruto! I see you're here. Who are your friends? Hey, Auntie Anya! Naruto greeted. One by one, the others introduced themselves. So, what brings you kids here? She asked. They have some bad news, honey. It was Dr. Chase who answered. Oh my! Her voice said worriedly. I hope it isn't about Annabeth. A chill ran up the spine of the three demigods. They looked at each other nervously. That was exactly why they came here. You better talk in your study then. She sent them off. I will bring up with food and drinks shortly. Thanks, Auntie, Naruto said. I can't believe I can taste your cooking again. Oh, Naruto. You flatter me. Anya giggled and went to the kitchen. Right here, Frederick said, leading the group up to his study. Whoa, Percy said in awe. It was a room filled wall to wall with books. There was a table with tanks and soldiers arranged in a diorama, like Dr. Chase was recreating something. Old biplanes were hung from the ceiling, tilted in crazy angles simulating a dog fight. So that's why you needed the biplanes, Naruto commented. You play with toy soldiers? Percy added. No, I am recreating the third battle of Ypres. You see, I am writing a paper on how the sop with camels to strafe enemy lines. I believe the planes played a bigger role than what they're given credit for, he explained. He then plucked a plane and swept across his miniature battlefield. He began making airplane noises as he knocked down one of the toy German soldiers in a drive-by. So, he does play with toy planes instead. Percy's sweat dropped. I like the craftsmanship on this battlefield, Zoe commented. Though I have to correct you on this one. The German lines were farther back. About right here. She pointed in the diorama. That made him stop playing with his toys and stare at the hunter. How do you know that? I was there, she said matter-of-factly. Lady Artemis wanted to show us insensibilities of war. And she was right. The battle was a complete waste. He mobbed the hunter, bombarding her with questions. You saw the sop with camels? How many were they? What formations did they fly? Zoe looked overwhelmed. She didn't know what to say. Our bad news? Talia reminded him. Of course, he said. Now tell me what's wrong. And so, they took turns telling the doctor everything, from their little trip to the attack of the Manticore. They didn't see any reason to hide anything from him anymore, even those things monster-related. By the time they were done, the afternoon light was fading. They were running out of time. Sir, it's my fault, Percy said with regret in his voice. If I had just stuck with the plan, I am to blame as well. Naruto added. If only I was faster. Frederick raised his hand. No, it's no one's fault. You two did your best, right? You were just caught off guard. It's just, my poor daughter, that is why we need transportation to Mount Tamalpais immediately. Zoe said. We must be there by sunset. He gained a serious expression as he nodded. We must hurry. I could fly you in my biplane, but it can only fit 2 people at a time. You have a biplane? Percy exclaimed. Why, yes, he said proudly. It is the reason why we had to move here in the first place. You see, my sponsor owns World War I relics and, with all due respect, Uncle, Naruto cut him off. Can we talk about this later? We're kinda pressed for time. Yes, sir, Talia added. Just a car would be fine. It would be better if you don't come with us. It's too dangerous. He got up from his chair. Now listen here, dangerous or not, Annabeth is my daughter. It is my duty as his father to snacks anyone. Anya opened the door, interrupting Frederick. Oh my, was I interrupting something? She came in setting a platter of gooey chocolate chip cookies, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and cans of soda. The 3 demigods immediately dug in on the food, showing how hungry they really were. Naruto handed Zoe some food since he knew they would need the energy, to which she reluctantly accepted. We'll return it in one piece, Zoe promised. So, what's this all about, honey? Mrs. Chase asked. Is this about the bad news you said earlier? It's as you feared. Frederick couldn't gather the words. They need transportation to get her on Mount Tam. I would drive them, but apparently it's too dangerous for mortals. Then they better get going, she said. Percy looked at her oddly. It is rare for mortals to talk about the monsters they fought even to this extent, so it really was surprising. What was weirder was that Anya had allowed them to go. They were 3 underage children, underage looking in the case of Zoe, going for a dangerous mission on the mountain, and here she was allowing them to go, like it happened every day. Right. Dr. Chase nodded. My keys? He started patting around his pockets trying to find where he last placed it. They're hanging on the peg by the front door. She shook her head. Honestly, Frederick, you'll lose your head if it wasn't wrapped around your aviator cap. Oh, yeah? Right. He gasped in realization. We better go. So he said, grabbing another sandwich or two. We really have to go now. Both mortals nodded. With the go signal, our heroes hustled back down to the messy living room. The 2 boys were arguing again about the robot. Everyone took one last whiff of the homey feeling of the cookie scent in the air. Naruto! Mrs. Chase called out to Naruto's retreating form. Yeah, Auntie? Naruto asked. Please bring Annabeth home. She pleaded. Tell her that she will always have a home here, I'll tell her that. Naruto gave her a nice guy pose and turned to leave. He joined his friends on the VW convertible parked in the driveway just outside their home. The sun was dangerously close to setting. They had an hour to get there, give or take. This is a bad time to be stuck in traffic, Zoe said as they reached the congested areas. Really bad, Talia agreed. Zoe weaved in and out of traffic as best she could. She also tried taking smaller roads to avoid crowded areas. This continued until the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time they made it to Marin County, the sun had just about dipped on the horizon. The problem now was the roads were narrow and winding. It was like a scene from Tokyo Drift. Percy didn't know where this hunter learned to do this, but she never slowed down at all, even at the curves. Is it just me, or is it beginning to smell like cough drops in here? Percy asked. Those are eucalyptus trees, Naruto pointed out. But why grow a lot of them here? For koalas, maybe? Percy wondered. For monsters, Zoe corrected. Monsters love chewing on the stuff. Especially dragons. Say what now? Naruto did a double take. There's a reason why the idiom refers to dragon breath, Zoe explained. Now there's something you don't read in the books, Naruto said. Speaking of books, why is this place called the Mountain of Despair again? Percy asked. Zoe was silent. She didn't answer this one. It happened after the war with the Titans, Naruto explained. After the Titans lost, many of them were punished and imprisoned. The Mountain of Despair was where they imprisoned the general of his forces. You know a lot about Greek mythology, Talia commented. I just took Kazan's advice when she sent me in this world. Naruto mused. I didn't imagine how much real-life application it had until she claimed me. You got that right? Talia nodded. Too bad Percy doesn't know too much. Hey! I know enough to get me by, he protested. But I don't know what that is. That can't be a storm, can it? If this is where Atlas was imprisoned, then I have a good guess of what that is. Naruto guessed. So, what is it? The water boy demanded. You'll see, Naruto simply said. We have to concentrate, Talia ordered. The mist is getting thicker. Which one? The natural kind or the magical kind? Both. True to her words, the gray clouds swirled even thicker as they ascended the mountain, but they kept driving straight. They were out of the woods now. They were driving on open spaces of cliffs, grass, rocks, and fog. Percy glanced towards the cliff. That can't be good, he muttered. Why? Naruto asked. There was a white ship docked near the beach, Percy stated. I hope it's not Luke's ship, but I have a feeling that it is. One thing is for sure. Zoe finally spoke. We will encounter resistance from Kronos' army. Naruto wanted to say something, but he felt a familiar feeling. After watching Sasuke fight Gaara with his teacher's jutsu and getting stabbed by the same jutsu in the Valley of End, he knew what was coming next. Zoe and Talia seemed to feel the same thing too, because Talia screamed for the driver and the driver slammed on the brakes. The VW spun twice before coming to a stop at the edge of a cliff. Everyone, get out now! Talia ordered, to which her friends obliged. Boom! The second they exited the car and rolled as far away as possible from the car, lightning flashed and blew up the Volkswagen, causing it to explode like a canary yellow grenade. So much for the promise, Naruto said. I'm sure glad we didn't bring anyone else here. Right beside him, Talia clenched her fist and tightened her jaw. Raising her head to the sky, she yelled, "Thanks a lot, Dad! One shall perish by a parent's hand." "Humph, so this is how it's going to be." Hey, Naruto calmed the girl down. "We don't know it's him yet." "Who else could it be?" Talia demanded. "Who else could use lightning like that?" "I don't know," Naruto answered. "I have a really good guess on who it was, but I don't want to say his name here. Considering what he did to the car, we should be careful about spouting names. Do not worry, though." He calmed the girl down with a pat on the head. "I always got your back, okay?" Talia stared at the boy. She figured that she would have grabbed the opportunity if this boy wasn't there to strengthen her resolve. She returned the smile. "Thank you. Hey! Has anyone seen Zoe?" Percy asked, breaking the mood. "She's not here," Naruto said back. "Zoe." Percy was about to call out, but the hunter yanked his arm. "Fool! You don't want to wake the dragon," Zoe berated him. "Wait, did you say dragon?" Percy asked. "Yes, the dragon that guards the tree bearing the apples of immortality," Zoe explained. "We are very close. Follow me." She walked into the fog and disappeared. "Concentrate on her," Talia advised as she entered the same fog. "Come on, Percy," Naruto called out and followed suit. "But," he tried to argue but decided to follow in the end. They walked for a while with zero visibility. The only sign that they were going the right way was Zoe's back that was right in front of them. When they broke through the mist, they found that they were still in the side of the mountain. There was a dirt road in front of them surrounded by tall grass on either side. They saw that the summit was closer to them now, and the only way there was the dirt road. Storm clouds swirled around their destination. Even Percy could sense the raw power that was being emitted from the location. On their way to the top, Zoe turned to them and said, "Listen. Whatever thou will hear from here on out, just know that I am sorry for withholding this information. It's alright." Naruto spoke up. "You can tell us all about it after this is all over." Zoe smiled. And with that, they entered the garden. Anyone who would see the view on the inside would be awestruck by what lay in front of them. It would be the most beautiful view you would ever see if it wasn't for the enormous dragon. Everything all around them seemed to be glowing as silver in the evening light. There were also stepping stones that led up a 5-story apple tree with literal golden apples on every bough. From where they stood, they could still smell the fragrance emanating from the fruits. Although, the fragrance mixed with the worst kind of dragon breath you would ever smell. "And there's the tree," Talia said. "I never thought I would see this tree in person," Naruto said. "I wonder what it would take an apple," Percy wondered aloud. "You would have to be incredibly fast, strong, or stupid," Talia said. "I don't know about strong," Percy stated. "Hercules almost died fighting him." "How did you know that?" Talia asked. "I saw it a dream, I think," Percy answered, trying to think where he found it. "Hey, it's worth a shot." Naruto clicked his pen, revealing his forest green kunai. "Do not engage him," Zoe said at the snoozing beast. "He will kill you." The size difference that the dragon they had at camp was a dwarf compared to this one. It had a body as thick as a booster rocket glinting with coppery scales. Several of its heads were sprawled on the ground, all curled together like spaghetti in one large mound. Then, in front of them, the shadows stirred. The eerie singing that they were hearing from the outside of the garden seemed to get louder. Percy's hand moved to draw his sword and Naruto readied for a fight, but Zoe stopped them. From the shadows emerged 4 young women who looked exactly like Zoe. I'm telling you. It was like she did a shadow clone jutsu. The only difference was, while Zoe was wearing her hunter's attire, the other Zoes wore white Greek chitons. Their skin was caramel-colored. Silky black hair tumbled loose behind. Naruto hadn't thought about it before. Seeing Zoe's faces on these 4 girls made him realize that Zoe was gorgeous even if she tried to dress modestly in her hunting gear. He then thought back to Zoe's story on the canoes. He remembered how she told the story, like it was from a first-person perspective, like it was at his close to home. "Hey Zoe, don't tell me you're related to them?" Naruto asked. She didn't heed the question. Instead, she looked to the 4 girls like a prodigal daughter who had finally come home. "Long time no see, sisters," she said, confirming Naruto's suspicions. "How long had it been?" Chapter 22, So Close Yet So Far. There they stood, 3 demigods and a hunter facing off against 4 Hesperides. There was also a multi-headed dragon in the background, the guardian of the apples of immortality. Sisters? Zoe regarded them. This certainly shocked the demigods of the quest. They knew that Zoe was old, but they didn't expect to see her heritage. Nevertheless, they shoved this new information to the back of their heads. This wasn't important for the time being. Zoe did promise to clarify everything after this was all over. And good thing too, because we do not see a sister, one of the girls said coldly. We see 3 half-bloods and a hunter, all of whom shall die. Not on our watch, Naruto declared. Yeah, no one is going to die, Percy added. Ah, the son of this hunter's mistress. Tales of your feats have spread far and wide in this world. The lead girl studied the demigods. I see you've come to retrieve your mother. Sadly, your heroism must end here. You shall be another weapon at their disposal. And Percy Jackson. They turned to the son of the sea god. You aren't a threat at all. Who said I was a threat? Percy answered to the mention of his name. They fear thee. The first one turned towards the mountain. They are unhappy that this one hasn't killed thee yet. She pointed at Talia. As much as I want to, sometimes I'll have to pass. Talia waved her off. He is my friend. There are no friends here, daughter of Zeus, she said. Only enemies. Go back now. We aren't leaving until we are all together, Naruto countered. That means Annabeth and Artemis, Percy added. Artemis must be freed. Let us pass, Zoe agreed. You wish to proceed despite knowing that you will die by his hand, the girl said. You are no match for him. Move! Naruto stepped forward, not wanting to continue the conversation anymore. Leave now. None of thee have rights here. The girl matched the blonde's voice. We only have to raise our voice and you shall meet your ends. Not necessarily, Zoe countered with full confidence. I was once a Hesperid. He will not hurt me. Oh? Even if thou are right, what about thy so-called friends? They will surely perish. Zoe looked to the dragon and threw all rationality out of the window. She did the last thing that a level-headed lieutenant of the hunt would do. She raised her voice and yelled, Layden! Wake! Are you mad? Zoe's sisters yelped. They scattered after that. The quest-goers watched as the sleeping dragon stirred, its scales glittering in the moonlight like a mountain of pennies. That is your problem, dear sisters, Zoe said, watching her sister's retreating form. You lack courage. Turning back to the dragon, she walked forward with her hands raised. Layden was now writhing now. All 100 of its heads whipped around and 100 tongues flickered as if trying to taste the air. Zoe, don't. Talia warned her teammate. He might not remember you anymore. It's okay, he is trained to protect the tree, Zoe said, but it sounded like she wasn't sure of herself. As long as he sees me as the bigger threat, you can safely skirt the edges of the garden. But, Naruto tried to protest, but his older sister figure reassured him. Trust me, she said. It is the only way. We cannot hope to stand a chance against him even with 3 of us. Naruto opened his mouth to argue, but Talia dragged him to take the right while Percy took the left. Zoe smiled at the looming threat in front of her. It is me, my little dragon. Layden's countless heads hissed as the hunter approached him. Percy looked like he wanted to puke at the dragon's breath. It was 100 times worse up close. He figured that the eucalyptus leaves did nothing to remedy the stench. It was so appalling that the demigods were close to teary-eyed as they snuck around the dragon. Naruto looked to Zoe with worry, but her plan seemed to be working. Layden shifted forward, unsure what to make of the hunter in front of him. Some of them heads hissed, while the others eyed Zoe in confusion. Meanwhile, her sisters shimmered and returned to hide in the shadows. Fool! The eldest one whispered. Do thee remember? I used to feed thee by hand, Zoe said, approaching the tree. Do you still like lamb meat? The 3 were halfway around the garden. They were close, but something went wrong. Something in the dragon snapped. Naruto didn't know what happened, but Layden suddenly lunged at her. Thanks to 200 years of training in the hunt, her reflexes were enough to keep her alive. Despite how many heads snapped at her, she tumbled and weaved through the heads while visibly gagging at the monster's horrible breath. In that distracted moment, one of the heads decided to snap at her. Zoe braced for the bite, but the blow never came. She opened her eyes to see the blonde shinobi kicking away the head before it could hit her. Hands off my sister or you're dead meat! Naruto yelled as he landed. His pants sleeve hissed, probably from the acid or from Kurama healing the damage from the corrosive acid breath. Are you mad? Zoe scolded the blonde. I told you, you don't stand a chance. Go! Naruto ordered. I won't engage! He drew a bunch of kunai from his holster and scattered them around the area. He raised his hands to the dragon challengingly. Layden roared at the provocation and snapped at him all at once. Hey, you missed! Naruto's voice came out of nowhere, flipping a kunai in his hand. The dragon blew fire at the spot, engulfing the spot where the blonde used to be, but he was once again not there. He was running circles around the beast. Over here! Naruto's voice chimed from the tree. He was standing upside down on a branch with an apple on his hand. The dragon roared and lunged at him, but he was too late. Naruto had already disappeared. Poof poof pof! Just then, few dozen clouds of smoke went off all around the dragon. It turned out some of the kunai Naruto had scattered were his clones disguised as the knives. You're mine! The Naruto clones yelled as they formed blue spheres on each of their hands. Layden shuffled over to the tree and stood protectively over it. He stood guard bravely despite the attacks that were coming straight for him. The Naruto clones saw this, and one by one, the clones deactivated their attacks. This allowed the dragon to snap at the clones that were out for his heads until there was nothing left. The real one appeared at the foot of the mountain, looking at the guarding, sending out a roar of victory. He gave a look at the golden apple in his hands. This feels a lot smaller than it's supposed to be, Naruto muttered to himself. With one last look at the dragon, he began his trek up the mountain to follow his friends. With the OTGRS, Zoe ran up the mountain, leaving the eerie singing of her sisters. For regular mortals, the song would have sounded divine, but after the altercation with Layden, it now sounded like a funeral march to the quest-goers. She ran up, catching up with Percy and Talia, who were panting from their own trek. Where's Naruto? Talia demanded as soon as she saw the lieutenant alone without any trace of the blonde. He held off the dragon as I escaped, Zoe said, looking back down towards the garden. He did what? Talia said, forcing herself through Percy and Talia, who held her back. Let me go! He needs our help. No! There's nothing we can do, Zoe said calmly. We just have to believe in him. But, Talia wanted to say more, but a familiar hand patted her on the back. Yo! Naruto greeted with a salute on his head. Talia stopped resisting and she turned along with her two companions. How did you? Zoe asked with wide eyes. Did you destroy the dragon? Well, I planned to, but I decided not to, Naruto answered. Why didn't you? Percy asked. More importantly, could you? Naruto shrugged. I dunno, I probably couldn't the way I am now. Hercules couldn't after all. Anyway, that was still crazy of you. Percy chuckled. Talia walked up to the blonde and socked him on the arm, earning a cry. Ow! He yelled. Hey Talia. I'm back? She wasn't impressed by what Naruto said. She continued to glare at the blonde. Okay, I'm sorry for doing something stupid like that, Naruto said, closing his eyes to brace for another hit. You can hit me again for being stupid. The blow never came. He instead felt arms wrap around him. He opened his eyes to see Talia sniffling on his shoulder. You idiot! Talia scolded. If you were going to fight, we stand more of a chance if we fought together. I didn't want you girls to get hurt, Naruto said softly. And you? What if you got hurt or worse? Talia's voice trailed off. It will take more than an overgrown dragon to kill me. Naruto shrugged. Besides, he raised his prize and showed it to the group, causing them to widen their eyes again. You did it! You snatched a golden apple, Talia said in shock. Naruto tossed it in the air and caught it with ease. Sure did. I guess I can hold it over Luke's head or Hercules if we see him later on. Zoe tensed at the mention of the latter's name. That is good and all, but we still have a quest to continue. Right, Naruto said, getting serious now. We better head up. And so, they headed to the peak. They practically ran up the mountain, ignoring the fatigue that was already getting to them. At the top of the mountain, Talia and Percy were heaving from the run. Even Zoe had signs of fatigue on her, but Naruto, he looked like he didn't even run at all. Why aren't you tired at all? Percy asked in between breaths. Naruto shrugged. Talia should know this. You remember Bushy Brows, right? The guy in the bowl cut and the green spandex? Talia asked. Yep. Naruto nodded. I trained with him basically all the time back then. He's got more stamina than me. Look sharp, everyone, Zoe said, getting their attention. We are here. Everyone turned to look at what Zoe was referring to. The ruins of Mount Othrys? Talia said in awe. Yes. Zoe nodded. It was not here before. This is bad. The mountain of the Titans, right? Percy asked. Yes, it's the one Zeus blasted to pieces in the first Titan War. Naruto explained. Right? Percy said. The question now is, why is it here? Naruto asked. No one answered his question. None of them knew. What was for sure was they were in for a fight in the coming hours. A few yards ahead of them, the gray funnel of clouds was much closer than when they saw as they started to climb. The clouds swirled in a vortex that almost touched the mountain. At the end of the vortex, at the very bottom, there was Artemis in her 12-year-old form. Her legs were bound to rock on either side with celestial bronze chains. She seemed to be struggling from an invisible force. This was it. It was what Naruto had seen in his nightmare back at camp. It was the same cavern that he had seen Annabeth hold something up, followed by his mom. He was expecting them to be holding up the roof of the cavern. They held up the roof of the sky. Mom! My lady! Naruto and Zoe yelled as they rushed forward. No, get back! Artemis stopped them. You must leave now. This is a trap. She looked at them, the fatigue evident on her face. Her voice was strained and her body was beaded with sweat. Whatever she was holding up, she was struggling to hold it up. Ah, how touching. A booming voice ruined the moment. The sun and the lieutenant have come to the aid of the fallen goddess. Too bad you will not succeed. The owner of the voice revealed himself. He stood behind the group in a brown silk suit. Flanking on either side of him was Luke and Sasuke. Luke held Annabeth, gagged, bound, and held at sword point. Sasuke stood there not caring what was happening around him. He was only staring at one person, Naruto. Behind the three, there was a small squad of Dracini holding a golden sarcophagus. Yujiro Tonki. Sasuke regarded his friend. Sasuke, Naruto said. What are you doing with them? Aren't you with Orochimaru? That man has served his purpose for me, Sasuke answered. He is no longer of use for me. The Titan chuckled. I do not approve of this boy's methods, but this one insists we still need him. Lord Kronos requires his assistance to combat Naruto if he continues to be a thorn on his side, Luke clarified. For some reason, he looked a little worse for wear. Luke! Talia snarled at his as soon as the son of Hermes spoke. Let her go! That is not for me to decide. Luke smiled weakly. But it is nice to see you again. Talia spat. After all they've been through, she couldn't believe he would do this to Annabeth, no less. Humph! The general scoffed. So much for old friends. And now Zoe, I see you have returned home, my little traitor. I hope you have enjoyed your life running around with this goddess's pathetic Girl Scouts, because none of you are leaving this mountain alive. And I will start with you. You're not hurting her. Percy spat back. We are all leaving this mountain alive. The general sneered. Stay out of this, demigod. This is a family matter. The demigods turned to Zoe. It was one revelation after another. The gears spun in their heads trying to make the connection. The hunter was related to the Hesperides, and Atlas was there. Yes, Zoe confirmed bleakly. He is my father. The demigods studied Zoe and back at the general. Now that they mentioned it, they could see the family resemblance. They could see where Zoe got her regal expression, except it looked 1,000 times more evil on the Titan. Let her go, Zoe demanded. Atlas walked to his old prison that the moon goddess now held. Perhaps you would like to take the burden from her? Naruto opened his mouth to speak, but his mother beat him to it. Even Zoe was silent on the matter. She seemed to be considering this. No, Naruto! Zoe! I forbid the both of you! Artemis said. Atlas smirked and knelt next to her to caress her face. This action caused Naruto to grit his teeth and clench his fist tightly. Artemis though snapped at the Titan like a piranha, almost biting a finger off. The Titan chuckled. Feisty on, aren't you? You see, little ants, Artemis likes her new job. Perhaps. At this point, Naruto's anger was at a boiling point. He couldn't stand looking at his friend bound and gagged, and his mother struggling on the bastard's punishment. He rushed forward with his hand cocked back and his hand forming demonic red energy. Naruto, wait! Talia warned, but her words fell to deaf ears as Naruto was already ready to slam his fist on the Titan. His little outburst kicked up dust, obscuring him from the view. When the dust cloud settled, Atlas sneered at the two boys in front of him. You did not have to do that, boy. This puny demigod does not hold a candle to me. He has business with me, Sasuke said, completing the first state of his curse mark. It was necessary. Sasuke, move! Naruto growled in the demonic voice of the Nine Tails. Or I will rip you to shreds. Oh, please! Sasuke flared his Sharingan. You stand a chance against me in that state. What's going to change now? Wings started to form on Sasuke's back and slammed down on the blonde. Fortunately for Naruto, he was fast enough to jump up in the air. You're not getting away, Sasuke said as he disappeared and reappeared behind the blonde. Kagabayo, Naruto muttered as he glanced at the Uchiha behind him. He tensed and the red chakra surrounding his expanded in an attempt to damage his opponent. Sasuke, though, was smart. He used his wings as a shield protecting him from the attack. When the attack died down, he began a counterattack with a barrage kicks which the blonde blocked successfully, but it turned out those were traps. Sasuke provoked his with them so he wouldn't notice they're decent. When they were close to the ground, he inevitably sent one final kick to the stomach, causing Naruto to spit up a wad of spit and blood. Sure, Rindan! Sasuke cried out the name of his attack. You disappoint me, Naruto, he said as he watched the blonde get up. Is that all you've got? You haven't changed at all. You are still the same old idiot. Isn't that right, Yuzuritanki? Naruto got up to his feet, his stomach steaming as the acidic red chakra started to repair the damage. Shut up! I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to save my mother. You think I will let you? Sasuke scoffed. You will have to go through me. Fine then, Naruto said. Naruto's mindscape. Back again. A massive red fox watched as his container once again appeared at the cage. So, who are we killing this time? None of your business, Naruto said coldly. Just shut up and give me your power. Ah, getting hot-headed, I see. The Nine-Tail regarded him with a massive grin. Well, who am I to argue? Here, kill the brat with our power. A swirl of energy surrounded the blonde as he disappeared. All according to plan, the fox muttered to himself. Back outside, more of the demonic red chakra seemed to pour out of the seal on his gut. Naruto's power seemed to be increasing as two more tails sprouted from either side of the already existing tail. I see, that power again. Sasuke watched the blonde's transformation in front of him. Bring it on! He released his curse mark even further. He too was now undergoing a transformation. The wings at his back grew larger, tearing his shirt open. His hair grew longer and shaggier, and there was a dark star-shaped mark across the bridge of his nose. The two newly transformed individuals stood face to face as if taunting each other to make the first move. And when a drop of water fell to the ground, they charged with the others. That was interesting, Atlas said, turning back to the remaining demigods in the quest. Why can't she just let it go? Percy asked, staring at the invisible weight that Artemis bore. How little you understand, boy, the Titan chuckled. This is the point where the sky and the earth first met, where Arenas and Gaia first bore forth their mighty children. Even now, the sky still yearns for the earth's embrace. Someone must hold it at bay, lest it would instantly flatten the mountain and everything around as far as 100 leagues. He eyed the demigods. So these are the greatest heroes of the decade. Not much if you were to ask me. Only the other one was worth the challenge, but he is otherwise preoccupied. You better not underestimate us, Percy protested. He is not the only one who can fight. Come see for yourself. Outlaw scoffed. Have the gods taught you nothing, boy? You are beneath me. I will not stoop so low as to accept a challenge from a lowly mortal. Is it me, or are these immortals cowards, am I right? Percy elbowed Talia. The Titan ignored him. Instead, he eyed Talia. As for you, daughter of Zeus, it seems Luke was wrong about you. I wasn't. I am not wrong about her, right, Talia? Luke managed. His voice was strained like he was in pain. Percy almost felt sorry for him. You can still join us. Call the Taurus. It will come for you. He waved his hand. A pool of water appeared beside him. It was a pool ringed with black marble that was big enough to fit Bessie. Percy's thoughts wandered. He was thinking of the sea cow. In the mountain air, the others present could faintly hear the moos, like the creature was close or hidden in the area. Stop thinking about him, Grover spoke in Percy's mind. I am losing him. Block the thoughts. Percy shook the thoughts out of his mind. Thanks, man. Sorry about that. It's okay, Grover replied. What's happening there? I can feel Naruto's thoughts. They're angry. He's lost it, Percy answered. Can you talk to him? I have to talk Talia out of joining them. Got it. Percy was broken out of his thoughts when Talia finally spoke. Luke, she said, looking at the son of Hermes with tears in her eyes. What happened to you? I never changed, Talia. This is still me. Can't you see? We used to curse the gods. Our fathers have done nothing for us. Why should they continue to rule? Luke reasoned. Talia shook her head. No, Luke. This isn't you anymore. Free Annabeth, now. Let her go. Please, Talia. Join me, he pleaded further. We can be like old times again. The three of us together, fighting side by side for a better world. Come on, this is my last chance, if not. It sure sounded like his life depended on Talia's decision for some reason. He waved his hand again, and behind him, a bronze brazier appeared beside the pool. Don't do this, Talia. Percy placed a hand on her shoulder. Behind him, the sarcophagus glowed. Images projected out of it. It showed the demigods' pictures of black marble walls rising, making the ruins whole again. It was truly a beautiful but terrible place. Mount Othrys will rise right here, Luke declared, but the voice didn't sound his. We will be stronger and greater than Olympus. Luke gestured to the ocean. What the questers saw broke their morale. Hordes of monsters were marching up the mountain. Any monster that you could think of, they were there. Dracini, Laestrygonians, harpies, hellhounds, you name it. There are even monsters that Percy didn't recognize, they were there. This is only a taste of what is to come, Luke said. As you can see, there is no hope for you of winning this war. We will soon be ready to story the camp, and after that Olympus itself. All we are waiting for is you. Talia stared at Luke longingly. She was gazing at Luke as if mourning for what his old friend had become. You know we're here for you, right? Percy said, eyeing her friend. Naruto would go on a rampage if you were to join them. Don't listen to him, Luke countered. I don't want to. I don't want him to destroy you. Talia continued staring at Luke. She may have been on the brink of switching sides, but then she heard Naruto's voice in her head. You know I'm here for you, right? I never go back on my word. Ramin, Talia smiled, feeling the warmth of Naruto's smile in her thoughts. Thank you, guys, she muttered. Don't mention it. Percy returned her smile. That's what friends are for. You know we can't let Naruto have all the fun, right? Talia smirked, finally stealing her nerves. On 3? They both counted down in their heads. When their timer ran out, the three of them charged. Chapter 23: Sacrifices. On the peak of a mountain found on the western side of the United States, two battles raged. One was a battle between two former friends, and another was a battle to take back the goddess in chains. The two shinobi fought to get the upper hand. It was clear that the Uchiha won't let Naruto do what he pleases, despite how badly he wanted to help in the other battle and get his mother out of the chains as much as possible. And so, he decided to take out his opponent first. It can't be helped. Arg! Naruto roared as he slammed his hands on the ground and made chakra arms erupt from the ground and grabbed Sasuke. The Uchiha was faster though. He somersaulted backward as the arms struggled to catch him. He jumped over the last attack and created a black Chidori on his left hand and fell towards the blonde, ready to stab him. Naruto retracted the arms and formed a vermilion Rasengan on his right hand and charged to meet the attack. The attacks collided and created a massive explosion way bigger than what they created when they were younger. They were both sent back by the shockwave. Sasuke got on his feet and taunted. Is that all you've got? I don't see why the Titan Lord would be interested in you. Shut up, Sasuke! Naruto growled as he did the same. Why are you working for them? That is none of your business, loser, Sasuke said. Just make this easier for the both of us and let yourself get captured. No, you know I can't do that, Naruto said, glaring at the young Uchiha. Why don't you go back to Konoha? I already told you. That village has nothing left to offer me, Sasuke countered. I seek power, and they cannot give that to me. Then, it seems we are at an impasse, Naruto said, getting into a fighting stance. I will beat you right here and save my mother. You already failed once. Sasuke flared his Dojutsu. What makes you think you will succeed this time? They charged together, meeting in the middle. Their fists collided, pushing each other back. As they continued to exchange blows, Grover's voice rang through Naruto's mind. Naruto, what's wrong? I can read your feelings through the empathy link. Why are you so angry? Naruto kicked Sasuke away and answered his friend. It's Sasuke. He's keeping me from saving my mother. This isn't like you, Naruto. You never let your feelings get to you in battle, Grover reasoned. But Kazan and Annabeth. Naruto briefly let his guard down for a moment, allowing Sasuke's attack to hit true and send him flying. I know this is frustrating for you, Naruto, but you must keep a cool head, the satyr advised. Our friends are counting on you. Naruto slowly got back to his feet. He pictured his friends in his mind, Percy, Annabeth, Talia, Grover. Slowly, the vile chakra retracted back to the seal as he calmed down. Thank you, Grover. He looked up to see Sasuke biding his time and slowly walking to him. Oh? You're not relying on the fox anymore? Are you sure you want to do that? I have one more trick off my sleeve. Naruto smirked. I think you'll be surprised. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as the blonde took out a scroll from his pouch. Naruto opened the scroll and slammed his palm on the marking in the middle. Kuchios no Jutsu! He called out, and in a puff of smoke, a clone appeared. I don't know what you're planning, but I won't let you. Sasuke sped for the blonde. Naruto dashed to meet him. Now that he wasn't in the Ninetales cloak, the speed difference was noticeable. Sasuke appeared in front of him and sent a spinning kick towards the blonde. His eyes subsequently widened when he noticed that the blonde wasn't budging despite kicking him with all his might. Phew, that was cutting in close, Naruto said as he spoke with his arms raised blocking the kick. Before Sasuke could speak, Naruto flung him away. Without missing a beat, he appeared in front of the Uchiha and sent a chakra-infused punch straight for the boy's face. With his Sharingan active, he could read the movements, so he raised his hand in an attempt to block. What he didn't expect though was that the punch was heavier than he anticipated. He actually heard the sickening crunch of his bone breaking. What did you do? Sasuke said, nursing his arm. Never seen Sannin Moto before? Naruto taunted. 'Cause there's more where that came from. He charged. Sasuke's eyes widened. He had never seen Naruto fight like this before. He was using a completely different fighting style now. Sure, his Sharingan can still read the moves and aid him in reading Naruto's moves, and now, he knew better than to block one of Naruto's heavy hits lest he risk another broken bone. To add to that, even if he did avoid the attacks, some invisible force always managed to get him. One last blow knocked Sasuke back. He was pretty bruised up after that exchange, yet the blonde wasn't faring much better. It got him thinking though, why does hitting him feel the same as breaking a boulder? He let that last thought slide though, he could break boulders easily with this form. That didn't matter though since he took more damage from the blasted invisible blows. The Uchiha wiped the blood that formed on the side of his cheek with his thumb and sent a glare to the blonde. I admit, that annoying power of yours is a little troublesome to face. I will give this round to you. With that, he slammed a fist onto the ground and summoned a hawk. He got on his summoning animal and sent one last look to the blonde. Mark my words, next time it won't be so easy. His hawk flew away after that, not waiting for another word from the blonde. Sasuke, I will bring you home, someday, Naruto muttered to himself. With the OTHRS it was chaos back up at Atlas's old burden. Talia had been forced to duel her old friend Luke, the little traitor of Camp Half-Blood. She had the upper hand, but she had tears in her eyes as she fought. It was literally breaking her heart to fight the boy he had spent so much time with. Deep inside, she still thought like Annabeth. How could Luke have turned like this? Maybe, there is a way we could save him. But alas, she was colder than the daughter of Athena. She had resigned herself to do the last thing the wise girl couldn't do, bring Luke to justice. Meanwhile, Percy had done the stupidest thing a demigod could do, he went straight for the Titan. He remembered Chiron's warnings too late. Atlas was now free to unleash his full might on the puny demigod. Luckily, he wasn't alone. So he fought with him. Unluckily for him, he had been swiped away and into a wall like a rag doll by the general of Kronos' army, and then, to add insult to injury, Ares' curse had to kick in at the worst of times. Geez, whose side is that warmonger on anyway? Without any weapon to fight with, he decided that his best course of action was to bear the Titan's curse from Artemis. He knew he was useless in this fight without Riptide, so he offered. No, boy! The goddess of the moon protested. You must run! There's no time, Lady Artemis, Percy insisted. You have to fight Atlas. Your friend barely survived. She had the true spirit of a hunter. The weight will kill you, Artemis reasoned. Fighting him without my sword will kill either, Percy countered. Percy didn't wait for another word from the goddess. He slashed the chains with his sword and stood next to her, bracing himself. I guess the curse didn't affect breaking objects. As Artemis slipped out from under the burden, though, he felt the whole weight of the world almost crushing him, literally. Despite that, he held strong. Artemis took a deep breath. He regarded the boy with pity and readied herself for the upcoming fight. He charged at Atlas head-on. The general cackled maniacally as he fought the two hunters. Artemis was nimble. Every movement was like a blur of silver. None of the Titan's attacks could hit her, and then came the transformations. For one moment, she was an elephant wrestling him back on equal footing, and in another moment, she was gazelle dancing gracefully around the javelin thrusts. Percy couldn't believe what was happening. Artemis was fast, but Atlas's strength was unmatched. She was an Olympian, one of the strongest gods, but all she could do was lead the Titan back to his burden. You fight well for a girl, Atlas said. But you are still no match for me. The general feinted his javelin, and Artemis dodged the attack. Atlas grinned evilly as his trap came into fruition. He swiped the goddess off her feet, causing her to fall flat on her back. Atlas, then, raised his javelin up and positioned the tip for a kill. Zoe saw this and charged her father in an attempt to save her patron. This was the scene that Naruto had caught up to when he returned to the peak. His mind tunnel-visioned. Either Artemis or Zoe was going to perish if he didn't act quickly. Without thinking it over, Naruto threw a three-pronged kunai knife. Time seemed to slow down as the kunai traveled its path. Zoe had just released an arrow that embedded on the Titan's forehead like a unicorn horn. Atlas bellowed, not noticing the projectile flying in between the three immortals. He raised his hand to sweep his daughter aside, but Naruto appeared in punch. Naruto! Annabeth screamed her lungs out as she got free of her restraints. The blow was harder than Naruto expected. Even in sage mode, he could feel his bones break under the pressure. He was then sent hurtling back into the black rocks. Upon impact, the rock broke under Naruto's rock-hard skin, and the sage power left his body as he felt himself slip into unconsciousness. Everyone saw what happened, and they were nothing but shocked at the turn of events. Artemis was overcome with anger at the Titan's actions. With a battle cry, she sent a punch in between the Titan's legs, causing him to let go of his weapon to nurse his family jewels. The moon goddess caught the spear and embedded it on the rocks, using it as a lever to kick the general, sending him flying towards the son of Poseidon. Atlas slammed into Percy, pushing him out of the weight of the sky, finally free of the Titan's curse. The weight fell onto the general's back, smashing him to the ground. Despite the aching feeling on his tendons, he had to let go of them so he could carry his burden properly. He managed to steadily get to his feet and righted himself to carry the curse properly. No! He bellowed so hard that the mountain shook with just his voice. Not again! Talia vs. Luke spear clashed against sword as the two demigods clashed one-on-one. Every time their weapons collided, sparks flew off of Talia. No other swordsman could keep up with the son of Hermes when it came to sword fights, but tonight, he had met his match. He winced every time their weapons met, as Talia pressed him. She continued to press with her shield, and the son of Hermes wasn't immune to it either. What happened to you, Talia? Luke asked as he was getting pushed back by the daughter of Zeus. We were close, now why won't you work with me? You can't talk me out of this. Talia snapped back. Now yield. You could never beat once before. As you can see, a lot has changed. Luke taunted him as he hid his uneasiness brought about by Aegis. They continued to fight, but still Luke couldn't get a hit in. It was like Talia wasn't stuck in limbo for years. She was in tip-top fighting form. After a few more exchanges, Talia managed to slam her shield onto Luke's chest, knocking him off the edge. She leveled her spear, but she hesitated for the finishing move. Well? Luke dared her to make her move. Don't tempt me. Talia's hand trembled. Despite hating what Luke had become, she still couldn't bring herself to kill her old friend. No! Annabeth's voice rang in the background. This served as a moment of distraction for the daughter of Zeus. She lowered her spear and looked around to see what happened. She was fearing for the worst. Naruto had just been flung back like a rag doll due to gods know what. Her eyes widened. She wanted to run and aid the reckless blonde. Luke, though, had other plans. He made a desperate attempt to grab Talia's spear. Talia had none of that. Without thinking, she spun to move her spear away from her opponent and kicked him in the chest. The traitor of camp stepped back to the edge. You could actually see the terror in his eyes as he lost his balance and fell to his doom down the mountain. She ran to the edge to check for the body. The Titan army actually stopped and stared at their leader's broken, unmoving body, lying on the rocks. Talia had tears in her eyes. She knelt on the edge to lament her old friend's fate, but she remembered something more important. Something similar happened to the boy she held dear to her heart. She had to see if he was okay. Line break, Artemis and the CRW. Despite the loud voice of Atlas shaking the mountain, there was one thing else that everyone could hear. It was Annabeth's sorrow-filled screams as she ran towards the fallen blonde. She had seen the whole thing. Her eyes widened as she saw the events unfold. Despite giving the blonde the cold shoulder when he got back from the elemental nations, she couldn't find herself feeling the anger anymore. Her mind went into overdrive as she struggled to break free of her bindings, and when she did, she ran towards the boy and checked if he was okay. Annabeth held the boy in her arms. He was unmoving, but she could feel the blonde breathing. Though she knew that he wasn't out of the woods just yet. Every breath seemed to hurt, seeing the facial expression every time he breathed it. Naruto! She called for the blonde's name as she sobbed. Don't die on me, you idiot! Please! Talia came running and knelt on the other side of Naruto's limp body. She let out a sigh of relief seeing his chest rise. What happened? She asked. He took the blow that was meant for me, Zoe said, her voice actually sounding sorrowful. And you didn't stop him? Talia snapped at the lieutenant of the hunt, succumbing to her emotions. I did not ask for this boy to take the hit for me. Zoe's tone matched Talia's. Girls, this is not the time to be arguing like this, Artemis told the two ladies off. My son needs first aid now. Percy shook himself off the daze he got from literally carrying the sky and dug into his pack. He handed the nectar and ambrosia to Annabeth, who promptly fed it to the blonde. Everyone watched with fingers crossed. They were hoping for the best. A few tense seconds later, his face relaxed and his body began to steam. Before they could even breathe out a sigh of relief, the Titan army had finally made it to the top of the mountain. They readied themselves for a fight. They didn't know if the demigods could survive the fight even with a goddess at their side. That was until the most amazing thing happened. A Sopwith camel swooped down out of the sky. Get away from my daughter! It was Dr. Chase getting trigger happy, firing his machine guns that peppered the ground in front of the monsters. That caused panic within their ranks. A few of them scattered. Dead? Annabeth's eyes widened as she recognized the pilot's voice. Run! He called back as the plane swooped by again. Everyone was shaken out of their grief. Even Artemis had to stare at the plane that came to their rescue. The moon goddess smiled. He is a brave man. She took out a hunting horn and brought it to her lips. A clear sound echoed through the valleys of Marin. The Sopwith camel came back for another flyby. The Titan army had recovered from their earlier confusion. This time they fought back. Giants threw their javelins. One even got awfully close to the wings, but Dr. Chase was somehow an amazing pilot. He expertly avoided the weapon and retaliated with a barrage of bullets. Snake women wailed as they burst into sulphurous yellow powder. That's my dad, Annabeth said in amazement. Years before, Annabeth's dad was a sore subject to the daughter of Athena, but now, those days were gone. You could actually see that the girl was proud of her dad. That aside, there was no time to admire the flying. There was only so much one plane could do against a massive army, and the hordes were already ready to fight back. He would be in trouble soon. Just then, the moonlight brightened, and a silver chariot pulled by the most beautiful reindeer. It landed next to the group. Get in, Artemis ordered. They first carried Naruto on board, and the rest got on not long after. Naruto would love to see this, Percy muttered. It's like Santa's sleigh. Artemis smirked back at the boy. Where do you think the legend of Santa Claus came from? With everyone in the chariot, the goddess gave the order, and the reindeers pulled slowly, achieving liftoff. Seeing the kids getting away, Dr. Chase led up on his attack and followed the sleigh, like an honor guard. The Titan army left on Mount Tamalpay roared in anger as they gathered at the summit watching their opponents get away. Atlas's voice was the loudest among the angry shouts, sending insults to the gods and bellowing curses against them as he struggled against his burden. Chrissy Field, it is a little kid's dream to fly in Santa Claus's sleigh. Father Christmas may have not been real, but the basis for that was as real as it can get. But don't tell the children that. It will destroy their spirit. 4 teens had the honor of riding that very thing. If Naruto were awake, he would be able to see how vastly different his mother was from her twin brother. The god of the sun always sees to it that his sun chariot would take the form of every young adult's dream, the dream to drive a luxury car. Those that would appear in those Fast and Furious movies. The moon goddess, though, was the complete opposite. She preferred to keep it classic. Anyway, the sleigh touched down at the field just after nightfall. As soon as they landed, Annabeth momentarily left Naruto's side to wrap her dad in a huge hug. Dad! You were amazing! You shot them like, oh gods! That was the most amazing thing I have ever seen! The girl said basically with stars in her eyes. Frederick blushed at the praise he was getting from his daughter. Not bad for a middle-aged mortal, I suppose? But the celestial bronze bullets, where did you get them? Annabeth gained a thoughtful look, remembering how her dad caused havoc amidst the enemy ranks. Well, I experimented on those weapons you left in Virginia, the ones you said you didn't need anymore, her dad explained. I wanted to see if I could melt them and turn them into celestial bronze bullets. I can see why Athena favored you. Artemis praised as well. I thank you for that. The professor bowed his head in gratitude, but he immediately gained a worried look as he remembered seeing the shinobi's limp form. More importantly, is Naruto okay? Zoe suddenly looked guilty. He was reckless, but he was brave. That blow was supposed to be for me. Percy panicked. He remembered the prophecy. Is he going to die? Oh gods, what do I tell Mom? Relax, Artemis said calmly. He may have taken the blow, but he is not at all related to Atlas. I don't know how those old ladies would judge this. I hate to say this, but all we could do is wait. Talia smiled weakly as she nursed Naruto's hand. She turned to Zoe and said, Hey, this may not be the time to say it, but you were right. He betrayed me in the end. I guess all men are dash. I will stop you right there. Zoe raised her hand. My eyes have opened as well. Not all men are alike. I guess I just closed my eyes and heart long ago after he. So, are we good now? Talia asked. Yes, we are. Zoe nodded. Artemis shook in anger. She was staring at the thunder and lightning that was brewing at the summit. Her form flickered slightly. That unnerved Percy. After all, one wrong move from the goddess could incinerate the mortals present. Now then, her expression softened as she looked at demigods. I must make haste to Olympus. The meeting is about to begin. Sadly, I will not be able to take you, but I will send help. The goddess knelt in front of Naruto and caressed her son's forehead. He stirred in his unconscious state at his mother's touch, but he didn't wake up. She looked back to the others present and said, Will you girls look after him for me? We will, Lady Artemis. Annabeth bowed. Leave it to us, Talia added. Thank you. The goddess smiled. She boarded her chariot and said, I really must go now. After saying that, her form glowed. The mortals averted their eyes, and after a flash of silver, Artemis was gone. She was impressive, Dr. Chase commented. But I must say, I prefer Athena. Naturally. Percy smirked. Annabeth turned to her father, and she couldn't decide what to tell him. Ultimately, she settled on telling him. I am sorry for worrying you, Dad. Sure, there, dear. Frederick comforted the girl. What is important is that you are safe. Honestly, I was worried sick when I learned of your disappearance, but there is nothing I can do, can I? It is part of the life of a half-blood. Dad? Annabeth was teary-eyed at her father's words. Annabeth wanted to say something else, but their moment was ruined by the beat of large wings flapping. What was that? Was Frederick's confused inquiry. His question was answered by the descent of 4 Pegasi from the fog. One of them was a familiar pure black while the others were pure white, although one of the white ones had a horn on her head reminiscent of the unicorns that you read about in fairy tales. The black horse whinnied as if saying something to Percy in particular. Hey, Blackjack! Percy replied to the whiny aloud. Tell me about it. It was tough without you. The horse gave a whiny in reply. Yeah, a titan knocked him out in the last fight, Percy said. He'll be fine. Blackjack regarded the others and whinnied. Nah, they're good. They're with me. So, could you get us to Olympus? Percy could have sworn Blackjack nodded in response. It was then that Dr. Chase turned on his fanboy mode. His eyes seemed to twinkle as he observed the winged horses closely. These are fascinating. Such maneuverability! How does the wingspan compensate for the weight of the horse's body? He took a step back and fingered his chin and thought. I wonder if these were present in the cavalry charges of Crimea Dash. Annabeth couldn't help but facepalm, while Zoe chuckled at the professor's antics. Dad! Frederick's daughter interrupted. He blinked after hearing his daughter call out to him. He rubbed his head sheepishly and said, Right sorry. His expression turned sad after that. Kneeling in front of his daughter. Before you go, I just want you to know that I know how dangerous it is for half-bloods here, but you will still have a home in San Francisco. Thanks, Dad. I love you, Annabeth said as she hugged her father one more time. After saying the last goodbyes, they helped the girl get the shinobi Naruto on board. Guido and Annabeth followed after propping him up from behind. The others mounted their own Pegasi. And with that they soared into the sky, leaving San Francisco behind them.